Well, there's actually two questions. The first question is, shall the town of Fishers and Fall Creek Township reorganize to form a new political subdivision? That reforming or reformation into a new political subdivision will in effect eliminate Fall Creek Township. We propose that savings to the taxpayers of almost $1 million a year. It's just a make sense proposition. I mean, think of it this way. You are a business and you have two plants. They're a mile apart. They are not operating at full capacity, and they serve the same constituency or the same customers. Why would you keep two plants?
And in this case, you got one plant hiring another plant to do most of this work.
In one place, you've got one plant getting the other plant to do all of its work. So it's just kind of sitting there.
Right.
So good businesses get rid of the one plant, and you just, combine the two plants. So we're in favor of getting rid of that duplicative piece of government. The second thing we're also in favor of is keeping our form of governance as close as we can to the system presently in place. Keeping what's today a town manager in place, he'll be the city manager. Keeping the town council in place, they'll be the same town council with additional 2 members. Keeping our managers in place. All those people will still be there under this governance system, so it won't look a whole lot different. By voting yes to the first question, you will automatically put in place a mayor that is appointed by the town council. In effect, today, we have a president of a town council. That president would be the mayor. Now, they'll elect a new one from their body, but that person has no additional responsibility, no additional power. They don't have veto authority. They can't override anything.
Right.
It really leaves you with a very similar form of governance.
Take us down a scenario. If the mayor or council manager is not doing a good job, what can you do about it 2 years down the road in each scenario?
Well, the council manager is an employee, like any other employee.
Like Scott Fadness.
He is an employee of the city. He works on behalf and at the call of the council. That's his employer. He gets an annual review by them. He has to live within his budgetary means. It's really, he's the manager. What you get with a council manager is you get a professional. You get somebody who's trained to be a council manager. You get somebody who's educated with the degrees needed to be in public service. What you don't get is a popularity contest for someone who's got a great vision, no matter how much it costs, no matter what it does, who's looking for another elected office, who's looking to run for governor or state senator or U.S. senator or whatever. You get somebody who's just focused on the town, and that's what you get with the Scott Fadness.
And it's kind of timing-wise, this is really bad for Carmel, but maybe good for your point. Tell us what's going on in Carmel and how that relates back to why a council manager form is maybe better than an elected mayor.
Well, that's a great question, Tom. In fact, I've been looking at a lot of data from Carmel, Westfield, Noblesville, and doing some comparative analysis to Fishers. And the data speaks volumes. First off, Carmel's debt load per capita, in other words, its present debt structure per person, is $6,800. So every person in the city of Carmel owes their government $6,800, man, woman, and child. To give you some relative comparison, the federal debt load is $51,000 per person. That's a big number. So it sounds like it's not a lot. To bring it into perspective, the state of Indiana, take the federal out of the picture, the state of Indiana's debt load per capita is a little over $3,000, about $3,200 per person. Fishers' debt load per capita is $100. $100 per person is the debt load per capita in Fishers. Compare that to Carmel. Now, if it gives you an indication to look at relativity, Harrison, Pennsylvania, was a city this year that filed municipal bankruptcy.
Right.
They filed bankruptcy. Their debt load was about $8,000 per capita. I guarantee it. Any way you look at it. And I've looked at the Moody's reports. I know the debt ratings that Carmel has, or the credit ratings that Carmel has. I understand all that. I'm telling you, Carmel has to raise taxes. There is no other way that they're going to get through this without raising taxes.
So what happens